Hi, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and we have a lot of big news today. This video, I want to talk about how the Commanders are telling potential offensive coordinators that Sam Howell is QB1. Is this a good or a bad idea? We're going to dive into the logic behind why they may be telling offensive coordinators that Sam Howell is QB1. Do they actually believe that Sam Howell is QB1? Do they actually want to move forward in the 2023 season with Sam Howell as QB1? Does this mean that they're not going to swing for veterans like Derek Carr and stuff like that? And of course, is this a good or a bad idea? And if we are moving with Sam Howell as QB1, we need to figure out how we're going to build around him, most notably offensive line. Also, is it good for them to tell offensive coordinators in the interview process that Sam Howell is more than likely going to be a QB1 and you need to figure out how to develop this guy if you're going to be our offensive coordinator? And is the job just handed to him? Is he literally QB1 right now? Or is he in the lead, but he's still going to have to earn that QB1 job? But before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one, make sure you pull up this Sunday. And if not every Sunday, most Sundays. Just because the Commander season is over does not mean the Street Score season is over. So we're going to have live streams. I'm going to open up the phone lines for y'all to call in for the majority of it. We're going to talk free agency. We're going to talk draft. We're going to watch playoff games together, all of that type of stuff. And of course, make sure you stay tuned for all of the content I'm putting out. I'm literally putting out like 2-3 videos a day, man. It's just so much to talk about. I still haven't even gotten to my draft, free agency, mock draft stuff, my film sessions for a lot of the draft players. I even want to do some film session for Commanders players from this previous season, like Sam Howell's game against the Cowboys. I want to do a film session breakdown of that too. So there's so much stuff to work on, but every day I wake up, there's just a whole bunch of more news that I need to report on. So everything keeps getting backed up, but make sure y'all stay tuned for all of the content because I have infinite content to where I really should be making like 5 videos a day. I just don't have the time. But without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so this all started when it was reported this morning that the Commanders are telling offensive coordinator candidates that Sam Howell is likely to start off as QB1. Sources confirmed. But that doesn't preclude Washington from evaluating options and making Howell earn the job first. And Nikki Javala came out and reported that they like the idea of having Howell, who first of all they really like Sam Howell already just by himself. But then they also really like the fact that having a quarterback on his rookie deal and then you continue to build the roster, you can put capital in all of the other positions because a quarterback on a rookie deal, we've already talked about this. We've been talking about this for years. A quarterback on a rookie deal is your biggest Super Bowl window. That's why the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes was great, but the fact that he did it while on a rookie deal and you could pay the rest of the team around him made it way easier. And there's a lot of examples of it. I mean, right now, 8 of the 14 playoff teams have starting QBs on rookie contracts. 9 of the 14 playoff teams are paying their starting quarterback less than $10 million per year. Only 5 of the top 15 paid quarterbacks are in the playoffs right now. Rookie contracts are a big thing, man. So they already like Sam Howell a lot because of who he is. His rocket arm, his deep ball accuracy, his mobility, all of that. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in further detail about why I like him. But the Commanders, Rivera, Martin Mayhew, all of those guys already like Howell himself. But then the fact that he's a rookie going into his second year, so you have him on a rookie contract for 2023, 2024, and 2025, which gives you a big 3-year window to build around him, and he potentially be the guy that takes you to the Super Bowl instead of getting the veteran option that's going to cost you like 20 plus million a year. If you have Sam Howell out here making pennies, and then you can pour all of the rest of the money into offensive line and defense and receivers and things like that, that changes everything. If he plays like a top 15 quarterback, but he's getting paid like a bottom 15 quarterback, that's how you're a Super Bowl contender. So I understand the logic right there from the Commanders. And Ben Standig came out to clarify, quote, "My understanding, Washington is letting some know that Sam Howell is likely the 2023 QB1 while evaluating options. For now, looking at entering the offseason with Howell as QB1, but he has to win it and other doors can open." So that means they're not ruling out like a Derek Carr or maybe like a lower veteran like a Jacoby Brissett. But as of right now, as of today, it looks like Sam Howell's going to be QB1. But again, they haven't necessarily declared him to be QB1. And after what happened last year with Carson Wentz and what's happened over and over again with this organization, even predating Ron Rivera, I don't see them making a big splash at quarterback. First of all, the guys that they really want, they swing for and can't get. And then they end up getting a backup option, and then that guy doesn't end up being as good as they even thought he would be. And so I just highly doubt they do it this time around. I mean, that's almost a fireable offense before the season even ends type of thing. Say we bring over a veteran quarterback that's expected to start, not like a Jacoby Brissett, but like an expected starter like Derek Carr or something like that. You pay him all of that crazy money and cap hit that he's going to eat up right now, which pretty much eats up everything that we're getting rid of by releasing Carson Wentz. And he doesn't perform well. Ron Rivera is gone before whenever our bye week probably is. At least you can buy some time with a younger quarterback. Like see his development, how different he looks from the Cowboys game to how he looks now and how he's developing. You know what I'm saying? You may want to keep me around to not interrupt that, because as of right now, it looks like, if I had to guess, Ron Rivera, this is his last year for the Commanders, because a new owner's probably going to want to move on and bring in an entirely new staff on his own accord, new head coach, and then offensive coordinator as well. So that means Sam Howell's rookie season had a little bit of Scott Turner. This upcoming 2023 season, he's going to have somebody, and then he may end up having somebody completely different by the time the 2024 season happens. So that's 3 offensive coordinators for a young quarterback in 3 years. That's dangerous, but hopefully we don't end up in that situation. We'll see. And I just think it's really stupid that, I mean, this is the same quarterback that they refused to start that I said should have started since Carson Wentz got hurt against the Bears. He should have started going into that Packers game, and we more than likely make the playoffs with them, especially what we saw against the Cowboys. And this is the same quarterback that they refused to start. Now they're telling potential offensive coordinators that he's QB1 before the season even starts, before we even get to OTAs, mini camps, and training camp. Like, how do we go from one end to all the way the other end so fast, just off of one Cowboys game? I'm not an overreactor. I'm still somewhere in the middle. I love Sam Howell, but I've never been one of the guys that's the highest on him. I'm still big on CJ Stroud. I'm big on Caleb Williams and Drake May and all of those guys in the next draft, the 2024 draft. But I was also higher on Sam Howell than clearly the Commanders coaching staff was, because they felt like he wasn't ready to start until the Cowboys game, and I said he should have started since the Packers game. And again, I feel like we would have made the playoffs if we did that. But JP Finley brings up a good point. He said, quote, knowing Ron Rivera, I doubt he's definitively installed Sam Howell as QB1. At the same time, I'm sure Rivera is asking potential offensive coordinator candidates to provide insight and ideas as if Howell was the starter. So basically in the interview process, they're telling, okay, if you're the next offensive coordinator, how would you handle this Sam Howell situation? What would you do? How would you develop him? How would you go about designing an offense around him that would bring out the best in him? Things like that, which is smart, because first of all, even if you don't hire the defensive coordinator, if they bring up a good idea, keep that idea. I think it's a good job to ask that in the interview process. I don't necessarily think everything that Rivera and Martin Mayhew do are the right thing, but I think that's one of them. I think that's one of the good things they've done. That's smart. But we do got to remember that even though we drafted him in the 5th round. So it seems like they didn't believe in him in the first place. And one of my biggest problems with them, something I thought about recently, is that I feel like they used the excuse that he was a 5th round quarterback as a way to justify not starting him until the Cowboys game. If Sam Howell is drafted even in the 3rd round, definitely 2nd round or 1st round, he would have been started. He would have started instead of Taylor Heineke going into that Packers game. He would have been our starter the whole way. But I felt like they wanted to play it safe and hold Sam Howell on ice because he was a 5th round pick, and then they can tell fans, well, he was only a 5th round pick. And I hate the fact that where you pick matters more than how good you actually are. I hate that. I feel like if he was drafted in the 2nd round or the 1st round, for sure, they would have been forced to start him. And I feel like he would have balled out, but you know, Rivera and Mayhew, one of my biggest problems with them, if not the main problem I have with them, is that they play everything so safe, and I hate that. That's my biggest pet peeve with them. Even just the way that we call games, the running the ball all the time, 2-to-1 run-pass ratio, and when we're up, like against the Texans, where we're up like 20-something to like 6 or 7 or something like that, and instead of running up the score and trying to get 40 on them, we're just trying to run the ball until the game ends. I just absolutely hate all of that passive stuff. The not trading up to get Justin Fields when he was just a few spots away. I absolutely, that's my biggest pet peeve with this organization. And if Ron Rivera gets fired, that's going to be the reason I'm happiest about him getting fired. Even though I do like Rivera in a lot of different ways, that is the thing that really upsets me with this team. The thing that upsets me by far the most. And again, I just felt like they used the fact that he was a 5th round pick as an excuse to not be forced to make a difficult decision and not start him until the 7th round. Well, he's only a 5th round pick, so how can you expect us to start him? And now when he balls out in the 17th game, they're just like, well, he was a 5th round pick. How could we know? I absolutely hate that, man. Should have been started, my boy. But going back to Sam Howell, I think this is a great idea. I feel like at the very least, worst case scenario, you let him be the 2023 starting quarterback. And I like the fact that they would make him earn it, because then that would make him step up his game and practice as hard as he can, watch as much film as he can to earn that spot. I think that's a good strategy, but I think he's pretty much a shoo-in to end up being QB1. And I feel like worst case scenario, you let Sam Howell be your 2023 QB1, your starting quarterback for the entire season. You design an offense around him with a lot of RPOs like we saw against the Cowboys. I feel like you ask him to throw more than we did in that Cowboys game, but I'm not even going to get into that today with the whole 2-to-1 run-pass ratio that I hate. I hope Rivera and Martin Mayhew aren't serious about that. But either way, do everything you can, build around Sam Howell, get him some offensive line, get him a really good offensive coordinator, a quarterback whisperer. We're going to talk about that in another video. Make sure you build up that defense, and then worst case scenario, if he's terrible for some crazy reason, now we're in position to get Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Ken Ewers, either of those guys that a lot of people like in this 2024 draft class, not this upcoming 2023 one. But then again, if he succeeds and he's a really good quarterback, you have him on a rookie deal, and then because he's on a rookie deal, you have the money and the assets and the capital to be able to improve every other position on the team, and now you're ready to go to be a Super Bowl contender, like a real one this time. So I just feel like it's a win-win either way, honestly. I mean, I know some people feel like that may be a waste of a 2023 season if he doesn't work out, but hey, man, I think this is generally going to be an ugly season anyway. Sam Howell is our best hope of it not being an ugly season, because again, new ownership's probably going to come in March or April, and Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew, and maybe even Jason Wright will be coaching and making decisions for their jobs. Like, Jason Wright may not even be safe. The new owner may want to bring in an entirely new everything, not even just head coach, not defensive coordinator, not offensive coordinator, not running backs coach, not DBs coach, not tight ends coach, all of that. Even the front office, like Jason Wright, may not be safe. So who knows what's going to happen. This 2023 season may be a sacrifice season anyway, just a little trial run for the new owner to see how everybody is and how well they're doing their jobs. And then 2024 may be a complete reset with potentially even Caleb Williams at quarterback. You never know. So I think this is a really interesting situation anyway. But going back to Howell, man, I think with his mobility, especially, how much of an extra dimension he can add to this offense is going to be huge. You saw the RPOs that Scott Turner was calling for him against the Cowboys. They didn't know how to guard it. Even if Sam Howell didn't hold on to the ball, which he did one time and had that really beautiful touchdown that I love Taylor Heineke, but he doesn't have that strength and agility to get the touchdown run that Sam Howell had. I would say he's probably as fast as Sam Howell, but he's not as agile side to side and quickness and things like that, bursty, and he's definitely not strong enough to run over two people. We've seen Taylor Heineke have easy options of getting touchdowns and either going out of bounds too early or sliding too early, like that Packers game. He wouldn't have gotten that touchdown from Sam Howell. And my point is that Sam Howell adds another dimension in the run game that even Taylor Heineke couldn't, and we clearly saw Carson Wentz couldn't run to save his life. He could be a lead blocker, we saw that, but running the ball, that's dead. So I think we can do a lot of RPO stuff, a lot of heavy play action stuff. I mean, we saw even when he didn't keep the ball, when he would hand it off to Jared Patterson, the hole would be wide open because they're worried about Sam Howell running. They were worried about the receivers getting open off of play action, and then that just opened things up for Jared Patterson to have a huge gaping hole to run through. I mean, like untouched for like 7 yards type of stuff. Sam Howell helped with that. I mean, of course, the offensive line played better. I think Chris Paul at left guard and Samuel Cosme at right guard make the most sense. And Wes Schweitzer at center, he handled his own. He did what he had to do. But I also think Sam Howell had the most to deal with the fact that Jared Patterson wasn't getting touched for 5-7 yards on some of his runs. Design an offense around that, I feel like it's not even that hard. Sam Howell is very talented. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. He's been playing very well, but I also feel like Kyle Shanahan is just being a genius and working magic to do it. I feel like an offensive coordinator, with how much more talented Sam Howell is than Brock Purdy, naturally talented, more mobile, stronger arm and all of that, I feel like you don't even have to be as much of a genius as Kyle Shanahan to make Sam Howell work. But of course, we'll see, because the new offensive coordinator will probably have the power to evaluate Sam Howell and make that decision as well. We'll see. But I just think that it makes far more sense to go with Sam Howell rather than giving up a whole bunch of picks and money, future assets, to get a veteran quarterback that may not work out anyway. Save those assets, save those draft picks, save that money, and put it all into Sam Howell. And then if Sam Howell doesn't work out, those same assets, money, draft picks, and everything can go into getting the next quarterback or building around the next quarterback. So I just don't see us going any way other than Sam Howell is QB1 at this point. I mean, this man is a dual threat quarterback, rocket-like arm. You saw the deep ball accuracy on a couple of those throws, the one to Terry McLaurin, even the one to Jahan Dotson that he dropped. And this is off of very limited snaps with those guys. I'm pretty sure if you knew how many reps he had and throws he's made to Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson throughout this entire season, you would probably be shocked, especially after seeing how accurate he was throwing the deep ball to those guys. He's barely gotten QB1 snaps this year. He's barely thrown to Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin in practices at all at any point this year. And the way that he threw those deep balls, just off of the very limited experience he's had in the NFL so far, even just practice-wise, just shows that the sky's the limit for him. With him getting QB1 snaps and reps and focus from the offensive coordinator and the entire team throughout the entire offseason, OTAs, mini camps, and training camp, I can only imagine how accurate he'll be with that. I mean, that was just pure natural accuracy right there. Again, he hasn't had many reps with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson throughout the season. That was just purely him going back to college days and just him being naturally accurate, I guess, and figuring it out. And it's just crazy because before that Cowboys game, people were wondering whether or not Sam Howell could even potentially be the guy at all. And now after him just playing one game against the Cowboys and only throwing 19 passes and only completing 11 of them, now he's QB1. That is crazy in itself. But again, ultimately, like I said earlier, I think we bring in like a Jacoby Brissett or a Jacoby Brissett-like guy to basically be his backup, because maybe Taylor Heinicke goes elsewhere and gets more money. I would prefer to keep Taylor Heinicke as the backup because I really do like Taylor Heinicke. I just don't want him as the starter, but I can understand why they would go and swing for like a Jacoby Brissett or a Tyrod Taylor or Teddy Bridgewater or something like that to back up Sam Howell. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see though. But I would like Taylor Heinicke, but only if he's willing to take $3 million per year or less. I'm not paying him top quarterback money. Spot Track has him estimated to make $20 million per year, and I would never in a million years give Taylor Heinicke that. Love him. Metro Atlanta guy, that's my boy, but as far as the Commanders go, that's a big no. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section, let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please leave a like on this video if you liked it and even learned anything. And of course, man, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, names you scrolling on the screen right now. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. And of course, let me know how you feel about this whole Sam Howell QB1 thing. Do you want to give him the opportunity in 2023, and then if he fails, go and get one of the top quarterbacks in 2024? Or are you just really hoping that he works out and you just assume there's going to be the best case scenario? Or do you want to swing for a Derek Carr and let Sam Howell be the backup quarterback to him or another veteran and let him learn for another year? Let me know how you feel about the whole situation in the comment section. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.